Hi, I'm Sarah and this is Butternut. Welcome to Hen Corner. There's nothing more Christmassy than mince pies. And here at Hen Corner we start by making our own mince meat. The recipe is very simple. We start with 500 grams of dried fruit and nuts. So we've got some raisins. We've got some chopped dried dates. We've got some walnuts. We've got some mixed peel. And the quantities are not really important. We're just looking for a total of 500 grams. And then we've got some dried cranberries, which we love. We're then going to add the zest of an orange. Nice big orange here. And this is when the Christmassy flavours and smells really start to get you going. Got a glass of brandy there that we're going to put in a moment. Getting in the mood. Then we've got an apple from the garden and we're going to coarsely grate that. We do like to use as much produce from our garden as possible in recipes. Later on in the mince pies we're going to use eggs in the pastry and glazing the top. And in the mincemeat, our special treat from the garden alongside the apples is honey from the bees. So we've got our dried fruit and nuts, we've got our orange zest and our apple. Give that a bit of a stir. We've got some mixed spice, we've got a couple of teaspoons here. We've got some freshly ground nutmeg. Stir this all together so the spice is not stuck in one clump. Some of our lovely Hen Corner honey. Nice big spoonful. And then we've got 100 grams of brown sugar. 100 grams of butter, frozen butter. Traditionally, mincemeat would have suet in it, which is a beef fat. I just don't fancy that in my mince pies, so we use butter instead. And if it's frozen, it's easy to grate, and the reason that you're grating it is to help it to mingle around with the flavours, not staying in one big clump. Helps with the distribution in the final mix. And when the mincemeat is cooking in the oven, the butter and sugar and spice and fruit, it'll all melt in together and you'll have this really lovely, rich, spiced sauce holding your fruit and your nuts. And finally, once we've given this a stir through, we're going to add 100 ml of brandy. This smells wonderful. Just give it a good mix together. And you can pop this up into sterilised jars if you want to keep it, and it keeps for up to 2 years. But we're going to put it into a bowl, keep it at room temperature, cover it, and it'll be ready for making our mince pies. We're now going to make the pastry for the mince pies. This is a sweet short crust pastry. We've got 300 grams of organic flour. We've got 150 grams of diced organic butter. It's diced so it's easy to rub into the flour. And we're going to start by rubbing in the fat, the butter into the flour until it resembles breadcrumbs. Now that we've got the butter rubbed into the flour, nicely evenly distributed, we're going to add a pinch of salt. We've got 50 grams of golden caster sugar. Just going to fold that through with our fingers so it's well distributed. And then we need to bind this together, and we're going to use an egg yolk and then, if need be, a little bit of milk just to make sure that it's all the right consistency. it goes in. And then some milk. We're now starting to form it together, pull it together into a ball before chilling it in the fridge for about an hour, and then we can roll it out to make those lovely mince pies. We've got our pastry, our sweet short crust pastry out of the fridge. We've got our lovely homemade mincemeat stuffed full of our favourite dried fruit, nuts, our special hen corner honey, and that little tipple of brandy. We've just got half of the pastry to start with. We're going to roll it out. This is going to be for the base of the mince pies. We're going to use a very big, deep bun tin so we can have deep mince pies, and a nice fluted cutter. Then filling them with our lovely mincemeat. Now, whilst you want them to be deep, you don't want them overflowing, because that's where they can get a bit sticky and stuck in the tin. And the rest of the mincemeat you can put into a sterilised jar, and that will keep in the cupboard for up to 2 years. And now that we've finished putting the lids on the mince pies, it's time to give them an egg wash, sprinkle some sugar, and pop them in the oven. We just finished the egg wash on the mince pies and sprinkle them with sugar. This will give a lovely frosted, shiny finish to the mince pies. And if you are very organised, you can make your mince pies to this stage, pop them in a bag and put them in the freezer just like this, ready to pull out as your guests arrive to serve freshly baked mince pies. In fact, when you're making them, why not make 2 batches, one for now and one for later. These are going into the oven, 200 degrees Celsius, 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. Our guests are about to arrive, and it's time to get their mince pies all finished, perfect to serve. They've come out of the oven. They've got a nice crispy, shiny top. The mincemeat inside has the honey from our bees. We've got some luscious eggs in the pastry to make it extra rich, and we've got the shiny egg glaze on the top. And then just to finish off, just a little bit of icing sugar makes it look like they're snowing, and we can take them through, ready to serve and enjoy our party. Merry Christmas from Hen Corner and Omelette.